So earlier this month, a volcano erupted on St. Vincent. We had 30 days of prayer for the Muslim world, which is starting up this month. Actually started a few weeks ago. We also have many ministry updates from the Pacific Islands, and a thank you from YWAM Arusha, and a lot more on today's YWAM News Show. So thank you for listening and tuning into this, the 124th episode of the Youth with Mission News Show. I'm your host, Bill Hutchison. You can contact us, subscribe to future episodes, leave comments and links, and find the links to all the stories that we'll talk about in the show notes at ywampodcast.com/124. So the call to mobilize Christians worldwide to set aside 30 days to learn about and pray for the world's Muslim neighbors emerged in 1992 among a group of Youth of the Mission leaders. They felt challenged to help the church to look at Muslims the way that God does. This year's 30 Days of Prayer began on April the 13th, and it goes through to the 12th of May.
The 30 Days of Prayer for the Muslim world began in 1992.
With a group of Christians who felt inspired to challenge the way they understood Muslim people.
What if they saw Muslims in the same way God does?
What if they knew Muslims as unique individuals, families, and tribes?
With distinctive passions, concerns, and needs?
Could they see Muslim people as His beloved creation?
And if they did, what would happen?
What has happened is the greatest turning of Muslims to Christ in history.
Since 2001, there have been over 70 movements of at least 1,000 Muslims turning toward Christ,
numbering in the hundreds of thousands.
It is no small coincidence that this great awakening in the Muslim world
has coincided with an unprecedented prayer movement for Muslims,
such as the one we invite you to participate in through
30 Days of Prayer for the Muslim world.
"30 Days encourages Christians to pray with that same inspiration that started the movement,
and to let God direct their prayers with His loving knowledge of the Muslim world."
With more information at our disposal than ever before,
it's necessary to use discernment in how we form our understanding about the world around us.
The 30 Days Prayer Guide draws its information about the Muslim world
from people who live among Muslims
and aims to echo their voices and help you understand the incredible diversity
that exists in Muslim cultures around the globe
and in your neighborhood.
Praying during Ramadan is a helpful way for Christians to identify with Muslims.
During this time, many Muslims are seeking encounters with God
and a better understanding of His ways.
Each year, we receive reports that this is what God does
for both Muslims and the Christians who pray for them.
Though the issues faced by the Muslim world change from year to year,
for over 25 years, 30 Days of Prayer for the Muslim World Prayer Guide has been encouraging,
educating,
and enabling Christians to engage
through prayer in an act of love for Muslim people around the world,
sharing their burdens,
understanding their concerns,
and petitioning God to help them.
In this way,
we fulfill the command of Jesus
to love our neighbors.
Join the 30 Days of Prayer.
Join the 30 Days of Prayer.
Join the 30 Days of Prayer.
Join the 30 Days of Prayer and travel around the Muslim world
with hundreds of thousands of other believers
into an active understanding
of God's transforming love.
So if you head over to...
Amen. Do it.
Sorry. So if you head on over to the 30 Days of Prayer website, which is 30daysprayer.com. You can join in for the rest of the 30 days, which will run until May the 12th. Each day you'll have different things that you can pray for and pray that God will impact people in the Muslim world. So on April 9th, St. Vincent's volcano, La Souveraine, erupted explosively and has continued to erupt multiple other times since then. Each eruption has sent ash into the sky, as well as small and large stones, which have destroyed many homes. They're continuing to expect more eruptions and pyroclastic flows in the coming days and weeks. The YWAM St. Vincent and Grenadines Center is on a different island, which is the island of Meru, and currently is not in danger of the volcano. But there are many staff and members of YWAM St. Vincent who are assisting with relief efforts at the local shelters in the safe zones on the main island. The shelters and volunteers are in desperate need of supplies. If you head over to the YWAM St. Vincent and Grenadines Facebook page, which we'll link to at YWAMpodcast.com/124, you can see how you can help, donate, and pray for the people. There are many people evacuated from the island, but some of the evacuations have actually been hampered by some of the neighboring island nations. So prayer about this is vital so that the people can be assisted and that our YWAM staff can be best served and can best serve the victims of the volcano. Now, YWAM Tyler, Texas, has been working for years with the refugees in Mexico and on the Mexican-U.S. border. Lately, things have really heated up with refugees, human trafficking, and the ongoing border crisis. To find out more about what's happening on the border, YWAM Tyler took a trip to the border to find out about the unfolding migrant crisis. So while on the trip, they've learned some disturbing things about how this could be the largest migration of slaves in history, and how human traffickers and the cartels are profiting on human misery. So we'll play you a bit of the video now. The whole thing is about 15 minutes long, so we'll just play you the first 5 minutes. And I'd really encourage you to check it out just to see what is going on the border.
My name is Matthew Nokas. I have been riding a motorcycle around the world in order to raise awareness about the problem of human trafficking globally and what people can do to stop it. There are more slaves today than at any other time in world history. Today, I am not getting on my motorcycle.
Good morning.
Instead, I am going to board a plane and head down to the USA and Mexico border in Texas. My sources tell me that drug trafficking is down, but human trafficking is up. When I arrived in the Rio Grande Valley at McAllen, Texas, the word on the street tells me that if I want to know the extent of the human trafficking problem, I need to look up Pastor Roberto Sanchez. Apparently, he is in the know.
The human traffickers, they're called coyotes. They bring people across the river for pay, and they work for the cartels. They charge people anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 depending where they're coming from. So what happens is that once they're on this side, across the river, but not across the checkpoint, big groups of them get kidnapped here in this area. They get put in stash houses or security homes, they call them. And once they're in this area, they will call their relatives throughout the United States and extort them for money to get them across the checkpoint, or simply to let them go. The cartels own the corridors, and you can cross through Mexico only if you're paying your dues to the cartels.
How much does a child bring in terms of cash to a cartel?
That I don't know. That's a very hard question.
Do you think it's in the hundreds of dollars or thousands?
Oh, no. Thousands and thousands. Yeah, no, it's not hundreds. It's thousands just to transport them. When I say I don't know, it's I don't have documents to prove it. But it runs in over $10,000 to $20,000 per child. It's not cheap.
And how do they recover that money? Like, so somebody buys them from the United States for $10,000, how do they get that money back?
Child traffickers in the United States is a big, multi-billion-dollar industry, unfortunately.
After my meeting with Pastor Sanchez, I was left feeling numb. It is apparent to me the problem of human trafficking on the border is worse than I had imagined. It is a dark web that crosses both sides of the border. On the next stop, I head to Ground Zero, or downtown McAllen, Texas, where migrants make their first stop after being released from detention by the U.S. Border Patrol and immigration authorities.
Basically, our new administration has not, the border continues to be closed. However, Mexico has refused to take children under the age of 6 and under. And so therefore, any families that arrives at the border that have a child under 6 are not being able to turn them back like they turn back everybody else, because that's the policy in place right now. And so those families are what we've seen right today. And you see our center filled with so many families and so many children. And so the numbers started to escalate from 100 to 100, 500. Yesterday we had 750, and this is new arrivals.
As you can see, we have hundreds and hundreds of people right now. And this place, from the very beginning, we only function with volunteers.
So they sort of hear that this place exists, they just make their way to the front door, or?
No, Border Patrol drops them off.
Oh, okay. So
they're dropped off by Border Patrol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you do? Put them on a bus? Where do they go? How do they determine where they
Bus
go?
station is right across the street.
And
if the families have already bought them their bus ticket, then they can travel. If not, they're staying here with us.
So do you need volunteers now?
We always need volunteers, yes.
And
definitely need volunteers.
How many do you need right now?
Y'all are not enough. Let's just put it that way.
So there's a lot more to it, a lot more to the story. Again, if you head over to either the YWAM Tyler website at ywamtyler.org or the YWAM News Show site at ywampodcast.com/124, you can find out more. YWAM Tyler is continuing to minister to the people at the border and continue to raise money for that project. All financial gifts that are given towards the project at YWAM Youth of the Mission Tyler, Texas, will go directly to provide border crisis relief and are tax deductible for U.S. taxpayers. They feel they must keep volunteers at the border who can be hands-on and the hands and feet of God's love to those who are desperate and are hurting. Again, you can check out their website, ywamtyler.org, to find out more. You can read more stories about what is going on, and just find out more about how you can help and how you might be able to get involved in that ministry and what's happening there. So in March 2020, YWAM Arusha, it started on a project to build a teacher housing block so that one of our Tanzanian partners could continue to provide quality education. That's exactly what they were thankfully able to do. The new building occupies a total of 10,000 square feet and provides much needed family housing, kitchen space, and community meeting space for teachers and New Vision School in Enikuret.
Hello, our CTK family. Greetings from YWAM Arusha. This is John and Jacinta. On behalf of both our family, staff, and school teachers, we would love to thank you for your generous and sacrificial giving towards our teachers' staff housing. The mansion is now completed and occupies an area of 957 square meters, having 3 family units, 2 double rooms, 11 single rooms, 1 kitchen, and 1 family meeting area. Thank you for sharing your lives with us during such a difficult season in human history. Blessings and prayers from our family with hearts full of gratitude. Shalom.
So Youth of the Mission Arusha continues with their dynamic ministry in Tanzania, and you can find out more on their website, which is YWAMArusha.org. Now, I actually did part of my discipleship training school outreach in Vanuatu, which is an island off in the Pacific Islands, just not too far here from Australia. Now, at that time, Youth of the Mission didn't actually have a permanent center or location in the island nation, but it did partner with local churches and relationships with other ministries there. We partner with a church, and we're able to do some ministry at some villages out there, as well as ministry in the city of Port Vila. So YWAM has continued to partner with the other ministries in Vanuatu, and they've also managed to establish a permanent location there. Now, one of the ministries that YWAM is involved with is through Marine Reach, which is another ministry of Youth of the Mission, and that is the Family Care Center.
Unfortunately, the healthcare system in Vanuatu is very poor. There's structural problems, resource problems, human resource problems.
Violence has continued to grow sharply, has increased in the homes. Violence against women and children especially. Level of abuse amongst girl child as we see more and more. Lots of deaths occurring as a result of violence at homes.
We often talk about making a difference, and the question we have to ask is, can we or do we? Here in Vanuatu, just a few hours flying time from the Australian coast, we struggle with all those issues of domestic violence, poverty, social injustice.
While we're enjoying this paradise we call Vanuatu, beneath the paradise, we also have very serious social, economic, and moral issues ongoing in this country.
But there's a growing voice here to address these issues finally and to see a change take place. And Marine Reach is now part of all of that. Our new family care centre is going to make all the difference.
Here at the Family Care Center, I have partnered with Marine Reach in the nation of Vanuatu to help develop a diagnostic lab training course in which local NEVANs as well as community healthcare workers and nurses and doctors can come and learn how to identify and diagnose specific diseases that are inherent to this region.
It's very difficult at the moment if a woman is suffering from sexual assault to give evidence apart from telling stories. It's very hard, especially with a culture that women don't openly and cannot openly share their own feelings about what the trauma that they've gone through. This center will be able to give some evidence of it.
Yeah, I think this facility obviously is a huge benefit to the people in this community and in the surrounding area. And it's also a huge benefit as a model of what can be done in a different way.
We've got a training centre. We can take women in who need to be empowered in their respective communities and train them in the area of primary health care or early childhood education programs so that they can go back into their communities and make a difference. It's always extremely fulfilling when you help others. There's nothing better than that emotion, that feeling, and to see a difference been made in the lives of individuals is such a wonderful investment in humanity.
Mo me proud to mas with tomorrow by kat one narawani open we only extend them clinic ya. Mo mi talem thank you to mas lo who we only stop fund them clinic ya only kat consent lo mi vala.
Generally, you have organizations in this country who are doing good work. And the most effective way to help this country is to help those organizations to do that work more effectively.
On behalf of the Ministry of Justice, this is a program that we would like to endorse as part of ongoing program on addressing prevention on violence against women. And we look forward to working with Marine Reach on establishing referral pathways so that, well, together we can empower our people to care for themselves.
So the question is, can we make a difference? Yes, I believe we can.
So if you do head over to the familycarecenter.org website, you can find out more about what they're doing there, more about their ministry, and more about what's happening, as well as how you can get involved. The Family Care Center itself does have three components to it. They have the clinic itself. They also do training for people who are actually there in Vanuatu, as well as accommodation for visiting teams, visiting medical teams and outreach teams. So again, you can head over to familycarecenter.org if you want to find out more about the ministry that is happening there. Now, V-Life is another ministry of youth with a mission that is operating in Vanuatu. Now, in addition to partnering with the Family Care Center on some of the work that they're doing, they also work on 3 different areas, which include sustainable technologies and clean water training and community projects. They do primary school education. They also do frontier missions training. Now, with the school this year that they're running, they're looking for volunteers in many different areas. They include teaching French, sports and games, arts and crafts, appropriate agriculture and technologies, home economics, music, dance, and drama. Now, you can find out more about their ministry on their website, which is v2life.org. If you head over there, you can find out more about what they're doing. Last year on the YWAM News Show, we did share about the biogas project that YWAM Solomons has been working on in their ministry and the training that they're running. They've continued with this ministry, and they're also working on manual well drilling with PVC hand pumps. The drilling actually works by simple, affordable, and locally available tools to provide the ability to... they do this to provide the ability to make well boreholes of up to 21 meters deep. Now, they also work on teaching the community how to build self-made PVC hand pumps with available materials. This allows the communities to maintain the pumps and also to build new pumps when needed and make sure that they're not reliant on people having to come in from the outside to always do repairs and to maintain these wells. Now, in relation to the wells and hand pumps, the YWAM Center runs community water technology seminars. And some of the topics covered in the seminars are water management, water catchment, water holding and sanitation, water purification, as well as non-electrical pump systems. Participants get hands-on with building water tanks, making sand filters, drilling wells, as well as building the hand pumps and the hydraulic pump systems. You can find out more about their ministry by heading over to ywamsolomons.org, and you can find out more about what they're doing and maybe how you can get involved, whether it be with the biogas projects, the discipleship training school projects and schools that they're running, or the well drilling projects. So after about 10 years of operation in Papua New Guinea, the medical ships and land-based teams YWAM Medical Ships Australia and Papua New Guinea is delighted to be expanding their work by establishing a training and outreach campus in Port Moresby. The Port Moresby campus will be established as a satellite campus of the Australian YWAM Medical Ships training. Vocational training programs will be offered in a range of areas, including healthcare, hospitality, administration, faith development, and media. The property for the new training campus is just 5 kilometers from the Port Moresby city center and was originally built as a water sports complex for the 2015 South Pacific Games. The site has unfortunately been quite neglected and has needed quite a bit of work to clean up the property and to rebuild. Renovations are currently underway to repurpose the site as a vibrant training campus for young people. The first phase of construction includes student accommodation, kitchen, bathrooms, and training facilities. The development will happen in a series of stages, with the eventual dream to include a medical center, a radio station, a dental semi-trailer for local schools, and an outreach support center to serve YWAM medical ships work across the nation. If you head over to ywamships.org, you can find out more about the new center, as well as the medical ship, the YWAM PNG, which is currently getting ready to deploy to Western Province to reach more remote communities in Papua New Guinea with essential health care and training. Now, another ministry of Youth of the Mission and the ship ministry is actually the Marine Academy. The Marine Academy is set up to help teams and individuals to cut through the noise of the maritime industry to get the training and qualifications they need to follow their calling. They do this through multiple services, including maritime courses and degree programs, personal and team coaching, training seminars and workshops, cadetships with a partnership fleet, and developing world skills training and certification. If you head over to ywamma.org, you can find out more about the Maritime Academy and what they are doing there. Now, the YWAM Flotilla, which is another ship-based ministry of Youth of the Mission, has a goal to reach every island until all the islands and everyone on those islands have heard about Jesus.
The YWAM Flotilla is recruiting people like you to bring transformation to the isolated communities of the Pacific. We want to reach every island until all have heard about Jesus. As a YWAMer, you are a messenger for the vision. What can you do? Pray, sign up to go, equip yourself, and inspire others to join.
Right now, we have 89 YWAM volunteers who have said yes to adopting one or more of the isolated islands we've identified across the vast Pacific. Our ask is, if you are one of these, that you will commit to going on a short-term outreach within the next 2 years.
How can you do this? We're already connecting with YWAM leaders within the nations of Fiji, Marshall Islands, Vanuatu, French Polynesia, creating collaboratives that you can join and start dreaming on how we can reach these isolated islands together.
Discussions are also currently underway with several yacht owners, 4 of whom have already expressed their willingness to serve with their yacht, their resources, and their time to be a part of this initiative.
So what's next? We would love for you to join us on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love for you to pray about an island nation that you can adopt, and you can do so by signing in the link below. And we'd also love for you to engage in our seminars, training, and collaboratives.
So there's currently 934 inhabited islands without airports, regular ferry service, roads, or bridges. These islands are inhabited by some of the most vulnerable families on Earth. By volunteering, you can help to serve these communities and ensure that no one is left behind. Like they said, they're looking for whether you have your own yacht, whether you just want to visit the islands and serve. There's many ways that you can join YWAM Flotilla to find out about how you can be involved and how you can help the people on those islands who really don't have much contact with the outside world because of the isolation that comes with living on those islands. So the circuit, again, head over to ywamshipskona.org/flotilla to find out more. Again, everything that I talk about, if you head over to ywampodcast.com/124, you can find links to everything. So that way you can watch all these videos, you can watch the full 15 minutes of the border crisis video, as well as find links to everything that we talk about. Now, the circuit riders, Carry the Love and Circuit Rider Music, are setting out to unite campuses, churches, and communities to serve their cities. And they also want to gather to worship, preach the gospel, and activate believers to love like Jesus. They'll be going on a Jesus People tour, visiting 14 different cities in the U.S., starting on April 26th through to June 19th.
Last year, in the midst of our biggest tour yet, the unexpected happened. COVID-19. Campuses and communities everywhere began to shut down. The whole world isolated, afraid of each other. And as humanity sat still, our brokenness took center stage. Fear, division, racism, and pain swept over the world. The need is now, and a whole generation is looking for an answer. an answer only found in the love of Jesus. This year, we must do whatever it takes to reach out, to bring solution, to carry the love and give an answer to a generation waiting.
This year, we said,
we must do whatever it takes to carry the love and give an answer to a generation waiting.
so after hundreds of small gatherings across America, it's time to go big. Wave 3, the Jesus People Tour. We are uniting campuses, churches, and communities. First, to meet the need and reach their city. Then culminating to field gatherings with the Carry the Love Gospel Truck, where we will gather to worship, preach the gospel, and activate a generation to love like Jesus. Join the circuit riders and so many others in a city near you.
So you can head over to the Jesus People website, Jesus People Tour, which is JesusPeopleTour.com. They go from April the 26th to June the 19th. And you can find out if they're coming to your city. There's a list on the website where you can go and you can register and sign up. So again, that's JesusPeopleTour.com. Now, thank you so much for tuning in to this, the 124th episode of the YWAM News Show. I do apologize for the long delay from the last one. I actually had some hardware difficulties with my computer and wasn't able to record for about 3 weeks. Thankfully, the computer is back up and running. Hardware problems have been fixed, which is nice. And we will be looking at moving forward, hopefully with a more regular schedule for the YWAM News Show. So again, we will be streaming live. I'm experimenting a bit, whether we go on the YWAM Podcast Facebook page or we do it through Twitch on my channel there. We'll play around a bit and see what happens and see where we can connect with the most number of people. So thank you so much for listening and watching. You can head over to YWAMpodcast.com/124 where you can watch this video. You can also listen to the audio, subscribe to the podcast, or just click through all the links and find out how maybe you can get involved with what Youth of the Mission is doing around the world. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you again in a few weeks.
We set out across the sea. We set ourselves to the wind, and you were looking back at me with tear-stained cheeks and rosy lips, with nothing to forget.
You can hear